Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend in Jesus.
Do you want to die, Sydney? Your mother sure didn't.
Fuck you, you creep. Please don't.
Jesus wept.
Tell the sheriff I got him.
I got plans for you. I'm gonna slit your eyelids in half so you don't blink when I stab you in the face.
You don't know what death is.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Hey, this is Trevor, and you're listening to episode 21 of Blood, Guts, and B-Movie Trash Talk, where we watch and review movies that you do not have time for. Now, before we get into the shit, I'd like to introduce a few people that help out with this show. First off, we'll go with Steve.
Well, hello, boys.
Hello, Clarice.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket!
How you doing, Steve?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good.
Good.
We also have a fine gentleman on the show once again. Would you like to introduce him, Steve?
Yeah, he's his jersey still hangs in the musician's friend rafters.
No.
Danny V. What team was that? 44? Danny Vasquez is the guy's name.
Thanks, I appreciate that, Steve.
How's it going, Danny?
You know,
bet.
just working away. Just got through watching a shitty movie.
Well, I'm glad it's fresh in your dome because...
That's debatable. We got a movie that came out on not one, but two of my friends' birthdays. And they were both on our podcast at one point, Chris and Alex.
Yes.
So we got The Forest for you. January 8th is when it came out. Director Jason Zada, unless you've got the correct pronunciation,
I don't,
Danny.
because I don't care about this guy at all.
Sounds right.
Sounds made up.
Yeah.
Written by Nick Antosca, Sarah Cornwall, and Ben Katai. No relation to Chris Kattan.
Sarah Cornhole?
Yeah, it's a stupid name. Budget, $10 million. It's already made $22.4 at the box office. And before Trevor reads the back of this box that isn't out yet, the film's about the Aokigahara Forest, which is an actual forest at the northwest base of Mount Fuji in Japan. And it's known as what, Danny?
The Suicide Forest.
That is correct.
That is correct.
So, one more thing to get to before he reads this is, this movie started out, guys, it sounds like you're not very pro this movie, but let's be fair. It's not a found footage movie and it didn't have teens, so can we at least agree we're off to a good start?
Yeah.
Sure.
It had a decent budget for a horror movie, and it wasn't, like you said, found footage. And it took place in a different country, so I was like, oh, okay, we're off to a good start.
And
That's where all the budget went, to fucking haul these people all the way over there.
And it didn't have a bunch of fucking teens, 25-year-olds that were trying to be teens that weren't teens that were trying to act annoying like teens, so they were super teening it up. But anyway, Trevor, you got the back of that coming out box.
So this is all I could find. A woman goes into Japan's suicide forest to find her twin sister and confront supernatural terror.
Wow, that's
Fucking
pretty.
Give this man the award. Whatever the guy is. What do they call that for the movies? The Oscar?
Yeah, an Oscar.
Give those people the Oscar. So...
Before we get into this, though, I'd love to talk a little bit about the director here, Jason Zada.
Sure.
I guess he's not very well known. I think this is his first full feature film, his debut film, but he's done like music videos and things.
Yeah, that's the butt.
Yeah, well, fun fact here, Mr. Jason Zada is best known for his Elf Yourself interactive viral holiday season campaign for Office Max.
Ooh.
So when you turned all your friends into dancing elves, you just remember that Jason's the one that did this.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I could possibly lean towards the Elf Yourself thing being the best work he's produced so far.
So it sounds like you recommend it. Danny, what do you think?
We'll get to what I think here in a little bit.
Well, before we jump into the full-on spoiler, should these people stop this and go out and watch it, or are you going to save them the time by just telling them everything?
I'm gonna save them the time so that they get their hour and 35 minutes, like their hour and 35 minutes back in their lives. Yeah,
fair enough.
That's a gentleman move.
I say go watch it, baby. It's a classy fuck picture.
Why? What? Give a little reason.
We need to know the why behind
you
this.
Recommend this.
You want just a little taste?
I want a taste.
Just a tip.
Because then you will get to have an extreme colon workout by tightening your butthole the whole movie so you don't get made a fool of in the theater when they jump scare you that came from nowhere.
Okay.
So you're essentially saying this movie's good for Kegel exercises is what you're trying to tell us.
Exactly.
Yeah. You'll come out of this film with a tight, firm sphincter.
All those cock rings jangling around in there.
So you recommend it, Steve?
Yeah, I would check it out. I thought it was a good time.
Danny,
I teed my brother into going.
Oh, nice. Danny, you don't recommend it?
No.
Is that correct?
Save your money.
Okay.
What about you, Trevor?
I'm going to say I don't recommend you go and spend money on this, even if you go on Discount Tuesdays.
I did.
Because, boy, oh boy, this movie has some potential. It has a pretty cool story, a pretty cool premise, but I feel they just don't deliver because of the cheap scares that Steve was talking about.
Well, I guess for more information on the insensitivity of these people for making a cheap movie about an actual thing, stick around after the break.
Yes.
Scream at us on Twitter at BMovieTrashTalk, at Trevor Turpin, and at Steve Norman.
Welcome to the world of terror. When I'm not busy embalming bodies, which isn't often, I like to relax with some good family reading. Let me introduce you to my personal library of Fangoria, the leader in horror entertainment. What a fascinatingly hideous cover of Freddy Krueger. And devilishly candid reviews of the latest horror videos. And gloriously bloody color photos from the newest Friday the 13th. They're all here in Fangoria. Can I persuade you to subscribe?
This is Fango editor Tony Tupone asking you to enter the world of Fangoria. Only $12.49 for a special 6-month video subscription. Send check or money order to Fangoria Magazine, 475 Park Avenue South, New York, 10016.
Yeah, we're back, Danny, and I think we should just, for a quick second, on break, we were talking about Goodnight Mommy.
This is true.
And whether or not you liked it. Now, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty crazy. You had mentioned that the whole super gluing the mom's mouth shut and then cutting it with like surgical tape scissors and then cutting her lip open was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Like the whole movie itself, I think, had a nice premise. Could have been done better. But yeah, I mean, there are some parts in that movie where you're just like, you cringe. You absolutely cringe.
I love that you guys recommend this movie so little that you started the review by talking about a different movie.
No, I recommend you do check out Goodnight Mommy. I think it's way good, Steve. I think you'd like it, especially if you liked funny games. I mean, it's a lot different, but you get that same feel. And
you get that cringe feeling. You get that unnerved feeling from watching it.
Yeah. So just to educate you a bit here, Steve, on what it's about. These two, this family lives in the middle of nowhere. The mother's obviously wealthy, but she's just recently had plastic surgery on her face. She has bandages on her face. And the two twins, like, go through the film not knowing if this lady is their real mom or not. And so they basically, like, torture her to get her to tell them whether or not it's the mom or not. It's pretty fucking crazy, man. Bunch of super gluing the eyes shut and like super gluing mouths shut.
Just the whole movie, or is there a build up to this? Or
there's kind of a build up.
They just start out like
Yeah, I have it. I'll let you borrow it. It's pretty fucked up, man. I think you might like it. I liked it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so, but we're not here to talk about that piece of shit today, so fuck it. We're here to talk about The Forest. Let's just start with the phone call, I think, is where pretty much the movie takes off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sarah receives a phone call from Japanese police to tell her that her twin sister, Jess, played by the same person, spoiler alert, is dead. She was seen... Dead tired of hanging around in America. Just kidding. She was seen going into the Aokigahara forest, known as the Suicide Forest.
Now, can we just say Suicide Forest?
Suicide Forest. We're going to go with that.
We're gonna go
and
with
traditionally
Suicide
that
Forest.
means... Right. And traditionally that means they're done for when they go in there.
Yeah.
Now, the laws of man mean little to me, but when you see this topic on Ancient Aliens, that's when I pay attention. And I've seen this on Ancient Aliens, so when this movie was coming out, I was like,
oh boy.
Oh shit. Some real shit now. So Sarah goes to her sister's school that she taught at, and they mentioned that Jess, which is Sarah's sister, went on a field trip with her students to the forest.
Yep. Big mistake.
Yeah. You killed... I don't remember his name. Whatever. You killed Sarah's favorite second cousin. Big mistake. Sarah meets up with a park ranger at the entrance to the park, and the woman ranger takes her downstairs to the crypt to check to see if one of the found bodies is her sister's. Danny?
Hang on.
What's funny about... Yeah.
I was going to say, can we
I know
can
it's
we
eating
pause?
you alive. Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Can we pause
we
this
can
for
pause.
a second? Because I love the fact that she just hops across the fucking railroad tracks and magically knows where to go, by the way. Doesn't fucking check anything. Her cell phone doesn't work out there. And just,
we're in small town Japan.
No, no. This forest is 14 square miles, like, large, okay? Like, there's no way that she knows exactly where to go. But she magically stumbles upon this tourist, or the fucking, like, park ranger station thing, like, information station, and they just magically have, like, a catacomb full of, like, fucking dead bodies that they find there. Did anyone else think that was weird? I've been to Japan, and I don't remember seeing that.
To be fair, Danny, their customs aren't the same as ours.
Well,
they're going to seem a little weird.
You know, maybe they didn't have the money to put together like a nice concrete floor with metal doors and slabs. I feel like it was that, but
maybe they thought nobody gave a shit and they needed to just move their plot along.
I thought it was kind of funny how she goes into this place and she asks the lady, "Have you seen my sister?" and takes out a picture. And the lady says, "Oh, yeah, I've seen her."
It's a bad picture.
And what she should have just done is pointed at her own fucking face and said,
That's
"Have you seen a girl like this, but with black hair?"
Yeah.
But the funny thing is she gets all excited because the Asian lady says, "Oh, yeah, we have her." And she thinks she's alive. And then they go down in this basement when there's like people laying on these tables.
Here's these dead bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she starts seeing shit, remember? Like, down in the basement, she just starts seeing shit already because she thinks the one corpse is breathing.
Yeah. And she lifts, you know, the Asian lady hears something upstairs, like another person coming in, so she runs upstairs. So
these are just with the dead bodies, and you see a guy listening to music. Anyway, her sister's not there, so she continues with her plan. I feel like they were like, you know, we need this to be an hour and a half. Let's get like 10 minutes in there so we can just sort of make some room here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they did, I think. So Sarah decides to walk around a bit near the forest, and she sees a group of Japanese girls go right into the forest, even though they said do not leave the path. And I thought that was pretty interesting because right away I was thinking we're seeing some ghosts or something, right? Is that what you guys thought?
Well,
yeah, I thought there was something a little.
I mean, it's getting dark. The kids just go right through the forest.
Well, they're coming out of the forest, right? And then magically she turns around, and then there's like the bar that just shows up there.
She finds the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do like that she's not parked next to the hotel. She just sort of decides to take the scenic walk across this dangerous forest even if it is the outskirts of it, to get to the hotel instead of just parking there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so she decides to
go into
the hotel that it's a bar hotel that her sister was thought to be staying in, and she meets this guy called Aiden, and
Lady Gaga's husband.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, hunky McSquarejaw, as
hunky
they say.
McSquarejaw. Wow.
And they drink and talk about her parents' death via drunk driver, which right at the beginning you see that doesn't exactly line up.
See, and this is where this is the beginning of the movie for the most part.
Right.
And I'm like, this is really cool because I like when movies do this, when they have somebody narrating the story
mm-hmm.
and then they show what actually happens.
And it's two different things.
Dude, I love that. And so at this point, I was like, okay, this could be kind of cool.
Yeah, or you're thinking, maybe the director is so incompetent that he doesn't know what getting hit by a car looks like. It can happen in your basement.
But that actually kind of bugged me, because I felt like you were being force-fed everything. Like, the director was like, the audience is so stupid that they can't put two and two together, so they literally were force-feeding you every little thing that they possibly could.
Well, they did sort of give you the old half-slip, though. In the end, it turns out, but...
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I think that kind of made it a bit more interesting.
Right, because you don't... I mean,
because you're like, why is she lying?
That's not right.
Yeah, and why is she lying? Like, what's going on here? And I don't know, I guess it kind of works, but...
Yeah.
So when she's... Part of her story, though, is she didn't look at them lying in the garage, and her sister did, and she feels guilty, and that's why she...
So what happened, Steve, instead of them being hit by a car?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
So she told this fine gentleman that's married to Lady Gaga that their parents wrecked right in the front yard of the house, and their bodies were sprawled throughout the yard.
Right.
But while she's telling this, it's actually showing what's happened, and apparently the mother... Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
The mother and father are downstairs scuffling, and I don't know if it was the mom
you
or dad.
hear a
I
loud
think
bang
it's the
and
dad.
then another loud bang, and what happens is dad kills the mom, then kills himself, and that's what you hear. You hear two hits: the dad hitting the mom, and "Ball It to Bob" by Kid Rock playing on the jukebox.
I wish.
Right, so yeah, it's a murder-suicide.
Yeah, thanks.
To answer your question.
Yeah.
And so, the dude finds interest in this girl's story and wants to actually write about it. And this is where you find out that he's actually a magazine writer for...
Ooh, here we go. He is this will make Danny proud, I hope. He is he's an American that lives in Australia that currently lives in Japan.
Yeah.
That's an Australian, or a writer for an Australian travel magazine.
Yeah. And
how about that?
Your attention to detail astounds me, Steve.
Boom. I was thinking of you. I was hoping I'd give you a good old rock hard when I told you this.
You nudged me about 2 inches there.
Yes. So yeah, after they get to talking, he's like, "Oh, I write a piece on this," and I come to find out he's also going to meet with a sort of park ranger of sorts that's going to go check around for people that have killed themselves. And so
this man is very well educated when it comes to the forest,
the sacred art of the forest,
of being able to get out of there. Yes.
The Japanese man that they go with is something of
Michi.
Yeah, he's a Japanese version, though, of an Native American, in the sense that he knows the land, and he's one with it.
Or he's just a park ranger.
No, that's possible. Yeah, so they decide to go with the guy named Michi, right?
Yes, Michi.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, so, right at the beginning, though, Michi, the guide, I'm going to refer to him as the guide, tells Sarah that she shouldn't go into the forest because she has sadness in her heart.
Yep.
She opts to go anyway because who's going to see the sadness? And the guide tells Sarah that her sister most likely killed herself, but later they see Jess's tent, which is her sister, because it's the only yellow tent in existence, so it's got to be hers.
Yeah.
Now, the guide has mentioned that when someone brings a tent, it means that they aren't sure and that
Have
they
second thoughts.
Yeah, there still might be hope for her sister. So they look around a little bit. They cut down a dead guy that's hanging with wearing only safety gloves to take him down.
Yeah, that fucking... I was like,
I
what?
would not put that rotting corpse on my
Like,
back.
why do you have gloves on?
That killed me. He literally was just like, okay, we're going to drop this guy like 3 or 4 feet straight onto your shoulder. And the guy was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have wolves in Japan, but let's make him easier for stuff to eat.
Yeah.
No,
I thought that was kind of...
That forest, dude, that place is pretty crazy, but they don't have anything like that on the mountain that's going to, like, eat the bodies.
That's unfortunate.
Well, evolution only takes you so far, I guess.
Maybe they should just create some crazy, like...
Bear?
Just bear man or something that just goes through and eats
them?
Yeah, cleans up the mess.
They have
So they don't need to hire guys?
I mean, you have Japanese folklore, right? So you have, like, nikomatas and stuff like that, which are, like, spirit bear cat type things that will, like...
Yeah.
That go into the forest and live in the forest and shit like that. And then, I mean, they have hinge, which are, you know, shapeshifters and just all types of different things, which is one of the things that also bugged me about this movie, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay, got him.
Well, because it's getting dark, though, the guide suggests that they leave a note in Jess's tent and come back for her in the morning. But Sarah insists that she's going to stay the night, and
she insists that
they stay in the tent.
Because she time traveled here from Game of Thrones and lived in such a terrible world already, she can handle this forest.
Right. And Aiden says that he will stay with her and to see her through the night, and the ranger leaves. So...
because he failed banging her after getting drunk at the bar, he thought,
finish this up.
Yeah, let's clean this up.
So she says she's going to sleep. She really just wastes a bunch of time looking at books, but then finally she goes to sleep in the tent, and she hears some rustling going on outside. And maybe Danny could just do a better job of describing this part.
Well, it wasn't just rustling at first, right? So she like wakes up, and then there's still like the dim light of the fire in the background on the tent, and then next thing you know, like you see this hand come out because no one's responding to her as she's crying for Aiden,
grips her
for
back,
her sister, and reaches not through the tent but like punches it essentially, right? And then she looks outside and sees, for whatever reason, like 3 Betty Whites coming right at her. Like,
yeah, like what is that?
Like, hey. Remember on Monster Squad, the scene with
like a bad dream? It's like a bad dream of like being in a forest and the Golden Girls.
Yeah,
like old people are scary and they're dangerous behind the wheel.
That's true.
A bunch of blue hairs coming after you. No, like, so you remember on Monster Squad when they had like the 3 women vampire that were like floating on skates towards them, like in the final battle scene? That's what these girls, like these Betty Whites, did. They just like floated at her, and then she woke up, and then she realized it was all a dream. And then Aiden is...
It just makes...
Huh?
Yeah.
Dude, it makes no sense to me. Like, what are these old people doing?
They're just jacking in the scares.
They're all Caucasian. Like, I swear they were white old ladies. Like, I don't understand. They're wearing, like
there
they're
was a
90s.
Scary white old lady, whitish old lady at the beginning. Remember when she was in the hotel?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she's just, like, having a bad dream about that scary old lady. That lady was scary.
I guess you could kind of connect that, but that's a fucking shot in the dark.
Here's the thing. You're in the forest, right? And you're expecting to see...
Throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
Oh, my God. You're in this suicide forest, and they're talking about the Uris and everything like that, so, which essentially is just ghost, and which I feel like it would have been better if they talked about like different spirits and different yokai and stuff like that. But that's again a different point. But they're talking about the Uris, they're talking about all these ghosts and how this the forest is going to make you see things, and it's all in your head and all that shit, right? But,
yeah, he warns her of that multiple times.
Yeah, but you don't see any of the Japanese folklore there. You just see 3 Betty Whites charging at you. Again, super weird. Didn't make any sense whatsoever. And then she wakes up and Aiden's still there. And then a bush rattles. And
that's what's scary to Americans.
What, the getting old and being alive?
Yeah.
Oh God! Look at these group of geriatric fucks running around me.
Exactly. So
we better get them their medicine.
Well, it's true. It doesn't make much sense, but I kind of saw it as she was kind of dreaming about something close to the crazy old lady that scared her in that shitty hotel that she slept on the floor. But so she gets out of the tent and chases this Japanese schoolgirl into the forest because she says she knows where Jess
she
is,
doesn't. She
right?
doesn't see the Japanese schoolgirl first. She just sees the bush rattling, and so she's running, and she's like, "Oh, it's got to be my sister. For whatever reason, my sister's going to run away from me." Her twin,
in the dark.
Her twin sister that she has such a bond with, she knows that she's not dead, right? She has that like low level hearing that she describes it as, like that.
Yeah,
she knows she's alive.
Says it's
but she doesn't
like
know that that's not
sound.
Her, yeah, but she doesn't know that that's not her fucking twin sister 10 feet away from her, rattling in a bush and running away. Again,
sure, that's why
fucking didn't get it. Anyway, so she starts
Slowly.
chasing.
But, let's.
Oh, also,
well, and she chases the girl somewhere in this chase. Mentions that Sarah shouldn't trust Aiden, and scampers off through the forest. So Sarah chases her, and she falls down and cuts her hand up real good, but she also loses the girl, right?
That's true.
Well,
and I think we should also make it clear about the whole connection she has with her sister and why she thinks her sister is alive, because it plays a huge part.
Yeah, well, they just keep
the
coming
movie.
back to this.
Yeah,
and
there's a very little payoff.
No, there's no payoff.
There's a tiny payoff. Well, there is a tiny payoff at the end.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. That's why I think it's important, though, that if you can, Danny, in a few words,
in as sexy as possible.
Yeah, while you're rubbing your nipples.
Oh, Billy.
Say this.
When you're rubbing those butter nubs.
Just let us know what she says to the fine gentleman writer about how she feels about her sister and how she knows that she's still alive.
So
their double egg connection.
Should I do it in like the movie announcer voice where you're just like, in a world
where two sisters are connected at the nips.
In a world where she thinks her sister's alive because she can hear like a dog, but no one else can hear it. Like, that is how they fucking described it. Oh my God.
That's pretty funny.
That's how they fucking described it, though. It was literally...
Yeah.
It's like this low-level hum that no one else can hear, but I can hear it, and I just know that she's alive because of that. And it's like...
Yeah.
That's it? Okay.
And you know this guy... The writer and the tour guide... They're both looking at this girl like, yeah, she's a fucking idiot.
Right. Well, see, the thing is, how would you know that your sister makes a noise that nobody else hears when you've heard it all your life? I mean, plenty of people have said that the earth makes a vibration that you don't recognize, but you would if it stopped because it's at the certain vibration. But we don't know what it sounds like because we've always heard it.
Just feel it.
If it's that theory, we don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, They're trying to build up for some sort of payoff because this is what's going to make the movie the smartest movie in the world, they've thought. So Sarah and Aiden walk around the forest, and Sarah decides that Aiden is a bad boy and stops trusting him.
Well, you gotta describe why though, right? So besides the fact that her cell phone magically has like the longest iPhone battery I've ever seen, did anyone else pick up on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So she's
12 minutes is what you'd get.
Yeah.
That flashlight.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, after chasing down that schoolgirl that is all dirty and then is somehow running through the forest, and then she cuts up her hand, they realize it's daytime, so they're good to go. And they start walking down the river one way, and then they see a dead body floating down the river, and then Aiden magically starts walking the other way, and she's like, "Why are we going back?" And he's like, "We're following the river downstream. Water goes downstream, silly. Downstream." And then you look down, and the river's magically going another way.
It's going the opposite way.
And so she's like, "What the fuck's happening?"
Yeah, she's tripping balls right now.
Well,
isn't it weird that only she was tripping balls? Aiden was not tripping balls in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it
was all those energy bars.
Yeah, it was all that Dragon Ball Z. No. No, the reason she did this and no one else is because the tourists mention it. And that's why, again, Steve will say that they think this is the smartest movie that has ever been made. He mentions you shouldn't come in the forest because you have a sad soul. Or
right.
It's
kind of like The Shining. The way The Shining works is, at least in the book, Danny's got a lot of The Shining, and that's what allows all the ghosts to manifest. A normal person's not going to see the ghosts. So it's kind of the same thing. She's got she's got a touch of the sad, and it causes this fucking crazy to manifest. At least that's what I thought.
But then
I think that's what they're playing off.
That goes away at the end of the movie. Again, it's not consistent.
I will agree with you.
I'll talk. I'm not gonna give the ending away just yet, but I will remind me to bring this up because that if they're going to play off of that, they have to fucking keep it consistent. They can't just piecemeal it together and hope to God that no one recognized it. Like,
sure,
yeah. Anyway, go on.
Well, she demands to see his phone so that she can delete their recorded conversations because she's revoked the permission for him to write an article about her.
Because she feels that he's simply just using her for the article rather than trying to help her find her sister.
Yeah, and so she gets the phone and she sees pictures of her sister on there.
Or she thinks she does. Dun dun dun.
Right, you're playing with a concept that it's a mind that can't be trusted, which happens a lot in books, not as much in movies. Basically, if you wanted to see a movie that this happens in a little bit better, I would recommend watching Oculus. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Okay, well, I think it's on Netflix. Came out a couple years ago. It does the same thing where the mind keeps fucking with her. It's a horror movie. It does a better job. But anyway, they're basically running that gamut. And so after this, she decides to run off again. She falls into this underground cave this time, takes a nasty spill.
Nasty. Breaks her ankle. Cries a bit about it.
It fucking looked like it hurt. And she gets trapped in some underground chamber of secrets of sorts. And comes face to face with some pretty terrifying stuff in the movie. Like, this was the jumpiest parts of the movie, I thought.
It's pretty ridiculous. Because she does...
But isn't this
she sees the girl again.
Yeah, isn't that the part where the girl shows her fucking smile, though? That's creepy.
Hey, hang on, though. We gotta describe what's happening, right? So she magically sees a light, and also we forgot to mention that this forest is so large and that there are ice caves underneath the forest because a lot of the ground level doesn't get any light because the forest is so dense.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, you have these underground ice caves, essentially, that she somehow falls into a perfect hole in the ground that's just a pit that leads into this ice cave. And it's like a trap that a hunter would lay, or like someone like Bugs Bunny would lay on someone. And she's just like, oh, there are noises in this cave, I better go check it out. And so again, her iPhone 6s that has 20 years of battery life, she flips on her...
Has one of those Tesla batteries in it.
They're doing wonderful things in California, guys.
She flips that on and starts going through, and then this girl shows up again. This little schoolgirl shows up again, which, by the way, she looked like she was 30. I didn't buy that she was a schoolgirl. Anyway.
A creepy 30.
Yeah, like a weird 30. Anyway, she's all dirty and stuff, and then she's like, oh, your sister told me that you wanted to see her. And she's like, you know my sister? And then she's like, come on, follow me. And this is the second time that she's like, that they played on this in the movie, right? The first time when she's going down into the basement to see all the corpses, and she's like, what is this? And the woman's like, basement, come on. And this time the girl's just like, come on, your sister's down this way, and does like the same creepy, like, half smile, turn around type thing. And at what point do you not go, yes, my sister is not in an ice cave underground waiting for me, and sending...
Never?
Yeah, and sending this girl...
what is this crazy bitch doing down here?
Right.
Right.
Come on.
And how did she get down there if she fell down? Anyway. And so she's just standing there, And this is the part that bugged me, right? So they're talking that these ghosts, if you will, are Yuris. And technically, yes, a Yuri can change form, if you will, / faces, but that's more of a Henge. Anyway.
All right, Danny, you're throwing all these phrases around here. You need
a
to
lot
educate.
of Dragon Ball Z talk.
Yeah, a lot of Dragon Ball Z and a lot of
Yu-Gi-Oh.
No.
Pokemon.
No.
The Pokemon.
It bugged the shit out of me.
No,
dude.
educate us on these characters.
This
Briefly,
essentially,
I mean, come on.
No, essentially this was them looking it up and they're like, let's make a movie like The Grudge or The Ring, but let's not do any sort of research. And
Sure. Oh yeah.
Anyway, it's
we're Americans, goddammit.
Yeah. Anyway, Yuri's technically like if you go through life and you end up killing yourself and like, or if you die in some weird way and like the proper rites aren't performed, then you turn into a Yuri, and that's what they're saying like all these ghosts are. But they're not supposed to be like shapeshifters. They're just supposed to
drop
haunt
that
people.
a couple times in the movie.
What
the
part?
Term. Well, they drop the term a couple times in the movie, but then they quickly like abandon it. Like it's only the Chinese girl that says it.
Well, and that's the thing. They don't ever. They're not supposed to be shapeshifters. Anyway, so magically this girl, like, she shines her light on her, and then she looks up, and this girl's got this weird, fucked up demon face, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there are like 20 more of these things down in the catacombs, and then she's got a busted ankle. She somehow broke her ankle, but is able to run throughout the entire ice cave and get back to the point that she just was at.
Well, here's the thing, Danny. I can agree with she gets scared and runs. Because I imagine if you're that scared, you'd fucking run on a broken ankle.
Well,
I know I would.
It's not.
You got to use that nub for all it's got.
I mean, yeah, there should have been some more limping. But let's talk about the face that this girl's.
That was fucking scary,
dude.
man.
I thought it sucked, and this is why
it was pretty scary.
Like, why was it this like beast demon? I understand the whole Yuri
Beast
thing you're
demons are
talking
scary.
about.
Is that why?
Okay, all right. I think they could have done better, but I would have had it like maybe like a decomposed face or like the actual ghost face and not a weird demon face. I don't know. I thought that was ridiculous.
Well, I thought the very first part of her smile was the scariest part. When her head transformed, that was different. But the very first part where her teeth got like kind of big, that was the part that I thought was like, oh, there it is.
Did you like the scary face, Danny?
Meh.
Danny, are you up or down on scary face?
I think scary faces, when they're done well, are good, but I don't. Again,
well, this one.
Again, there's no consistency. So when she's running through the forest, and like when you see glimpses of it, right? For whatever reason, these people somehow have the foresight to put a burlap sack on their head before they hang themselves every time.
They're showmen.
Yeah.
Showmanship.
Something. And this girl who is there, like, has a completely different face than the Betty Whites, than the other ghosts that you've seen, like, glimpses of real quick. Like, she has a completely different face, and it's this weird demon face, and it doesn't fit. I don't know.
Sure. I agree with you 100%. It's like, what? Why would you do that?
Okay, so to be clear for everyone, scary face, Danny down, I'm up, Trevor down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's clear. Moving on.
So Aiden gets her out of the Chamber of Secrets. He gives the knife to Sarah so that she will trust him. And shortly thereafter, you get to see how the forest can play tricks on you by maggots eating away at your rotting flesh, which would actually be good for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But then when they start climbing down her veins, that's where the trouble ensues. And she starts poking at it, and like you see that she's not well.
Yeah. And before we jump this far, let's talk about when she finally she's still underground and she makes it to the light to see up above. She immediately screams for the what's his name?
Aiden.
Yeah, she immediately Yeah, so she immediately screams for him, and he's all gung-ho about helping her out of that hole. She's all about it. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. I'd be like, I'm going to leave this bitch in the hole.
Well, the other thing, too, is, like, she ran away from him because she's like, I don't trust you. My sister's face is on your phone, which come to find out it never was.
Well, let me tell you guys something really quick. I think I can help this situation.
Okay.
Normal man that's crazy outside of a hole always beats scary demons inside of dark hole that you're stuck in. So she wants him to get him out.
No, it's not Yuri. His name's Rob, by the way.
No,
He's the guy that helped her out.
Rob was her husband.
Aiden. Yeah, Aiden is the man with the jaw.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
I wouldn't go against.
You're right.
I wouldn't
You're
go
right.
against Danny's fact checking.
No. You guys are right. Sorry. And plus, Danny watched this.
Don't step, man.
Literally
Don't step.
2 hours ago.
Jack into the deets. Anyway, so after that,
Fucking Aiden.
he's like, let's go. We found some sort of ranger station of sorts, and so he takes her to the ranger station that he said he found while he was walking around looking for her, and he starts working on getting this ancient CB radio to work so that they can get a hold of people.
Mm-hmm.
He even offers her up the last of his energy bar, and she sees these wrappers laying everywhere that he's been eating, and she's like, oh, he's been here the whole time, and thinks that he's up to something.
Yeah, she basically thinks that he kidnapped her sister, and he has her locked in this fucking rape
dungeon.
cabin.
Yeah, this pleasure palace. And so she starts fucking around at this locked door, and she hears her sister's voice in there, who tells her that basically she tells him Aiden's a bad dude, and
he's gonna kill you.
Yeah, and he's holding Jess captive in the basement, and they tell this
she doesn't
by
say a
passing
word.
notes.
She doesn't say a word. You never hear her voice.
She writes it.
She writes it.
Right.
She somehow has a pencil and a piece of paper.
Well, she does ask if he's there or
Yeah,
something like that. She does talk at first, and then they pass a note.
Yeah. That's all I have about that.
So
I mean,
yeah,
she's just tripping balls.
Right. She's got all kinds of crazy going on here, and basically she decides it's best to just kill Aiden by stabbing him with this little knife in the heart, and then after she stabs him and he dies, she suddenly starts realizing that she had a touch of the crazy.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh shit, like she's a little more aware of what's going on.
Well, yeah,
she
because
snaps out of her funk and realizes
the door to the basement / closet just magically opens itself, and there's a light there. And then her sister's not there again.
Right. So she thinks, next logical step, let's go into the basement.
Yeah.
And so she goes to the basement of the station, and she sees the night her parents died from Jess's point of view, which clearly was a murder-suicide. And she starts looking through that little clicker. What's the word for that thing?
Oh no, so that was when she fell into the
in the hole?
Yeah, well, that's when she fell into the hole. She magically found it's not a kaleidoscope, it's the viewfinder.
No, it's a
viewfinder.
Okay, yeah. Right. And then
it's like one of those weird like picture viewfinders where you just put like little slides in there and you can see pictures.
Yeah. Well, when she goes to the basement though, Trevor, doesn't she see?
No,
she starts looking in that thing again.
No, she's just following her sister. She's following her baby sister
down the stairs.
She sees she sees her sister. She doesn't see like the viewfinder again. She just sees her sister. And then
I could have sworn that's when her dad like.
Well, no. She does look through that viewfinder and she clicks it, and her dad pops up, and it's a jump scare.
That one got me. Okay, this is the one.
Do you remember
that?
I can't
because
remember.
I did not expect fucking.
What part of the movie was that?
That was that part's at the very end, but
okay.
There was a clicker thing that Danny was talking about before, where she finds it in the hole.
Yeah, it's that viewfinder.
Yeah, right. But this part that I'm talking about in the basement is what you were saying, which is she's looking through it she's at the bottom of the stairs, and her dad pops out, and then she takes it away, and he grabs her arm.
Sure. So yeah, so this viewfinder thing gives the storyteller a way to explain the past. And so when she's looking through this, what it's doing,
pictures, kind of like Bagul would give you.
Sure. So it's just explaining what really happened to her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And shit. Yeah.
So well then, Trevor, since Danny always gets the good ones, why don't you describe this next scene? The dad grabbing her arm and so on.
So the dad's magically there. He's grabbing her arm. He looks ridiculous.
He's got like a bald head and he's gray or something, right?
They slap some black paint around his eyes. I mean, when you shoot yourself in the face with a shotgun, I imagine your head would be in pieces.
No, you automatically go to blackface.
Oh, yes, that's true. So he has a grip on her wrist, and she's just stabbing the fingers.
To get him off.
And so she does that, and she finds her way loose, runs outside, and she's chasing her sister at this time, right, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's running, and then magically her sister, who you don't see the entire time in the forest. Again, this thing is 14 square miles, and then they're somehow able to bump into each other again. He's somehow able to find the ranger station he found earlier again.
Sure.
You know, just it's too coincidental. Anyway, she magically she doesn't bump into her sister, but she's chasing her sister. At least she thinks she's chasing her sister. Come to find out, she never was. Anyway, she's chasing her sister, and her sister's running
dodging
for her
all
life.
these ghosts.
Yeah, because they're her sister and
as full-grown version of Sam from Trick or Treat is watching. His little hat.
Did
They all
anyone
look like
else get
fucking
Jason?
the Scarecrow from Batman.
No,
yeah, that's it.
I was gonna say, did anyone else get Jason? From
Jason from number 2.
Yeah, from 2.
Yeah, it did look like him.
You know,
full-grown version of Sam,
or like Silent Hill 5, I think it was, where the guy had the burlap sack too. Anyway.
Oh, Jesus. I've seen half of Silent Hill, the first one.
Anyway.
The first Silent Hill was great. I think he's talking about the game, though.
Yeah, no, just the game.
You made it far, pal.
Yeah. I think I played a demo.
Anyway.
First one.
It's not Silent Hill. Shit, what's the other one? I don't remember. Resident Evil 5, thank you. That's the one, not Silent Hill. I had to correct myself there.
Oof, that's way worse.
Anyway, so she's chasing her, and then her sister... Oh, Trevor, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so she's chasing her sister. She's dodging all these ghosts. And she basically can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the search party that her boyfriend or husband's put together to find both of them. And so once it gets to the end of the tunnel, you find out that it's actually the sister that's found the end of the tunnel and not her.
Who looks exactly the same but has black hair.
Correct, Danny?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, so Rob gives her sister, Jess Price, a big hug and says, "Where's Sarah?" And she says, "Oh, I haven't seen Sarah."
And Sarah's running up, but she gets intercepted by a little ghost girl.
Yes, that pulls her down into the ground.
And the reason is, here's the reveal. It shows suddenly that while she was trying to hack her dad off of her...
Her dad wasn't actually holding on to her. She was just...
stabbing the shit out of her wrist.
She was slicing her own wrist. And that's the thing. So she was never chasing her sister, right? She was just...
No.
She was dead in that basement the whole time. But the ghost, like, slyly looks down at her wrist, and then she magically is like, "Oh shit, what happened?" And then all these hands out of nowhere, like, grab her and pull her into the ground, and then, like, that's it. Like,
I can see the basement thing, but I never got that she was dead in the basement. I thought that she was actually, like, on the trail and then intercepted by...
No, dude, if you looked at her wrist, if you sliced your wrist like that, there's no way you are running a full mile. You're dead.
You're
that
dead.
Sounds like a challenge.
But it then goes back and it shows her wrist all fucked up and it shows her just laying there dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's not moving.
I have a heart.
So she's having a dream and a dream.
Well, and that would also explain why her sister, Jess, never looked back when she's screaming her name, being like, "Jess, come on, you're my sister."
Sure. Okay, so we've got an ending so far that's fairly competent.
Now, hold on.
But then they decide to just shit all over this halfway decent ending that they've finally come up with by just being like, "Oh, sister's dead, can't hear the noise anymore." And then some shitty fucking ghost of her sister's just like, "Rah!"
Yeah,
right?
So the I don't know, the expert of the forest is looking down the path.
Michi.
Because I don't know, he can feel the spirit or he senses something. He looks down the path and all of a sudden it's this like quick ghost run up to the
That's
fucking
the worst.
front of the fucking camera lens, and then it ends.
That's the worst part of the movie. They always got to do that
They gotta
fucking
shit.
thing to shit on the end.
It was
Because
like
they had a pretty decent... They were working up something decent.
And it was like one of those shitty, like, right when CGI...
Crappy CGI, like PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it was
early.
fucking bad.
It was early '90s CGI, and it was like a Sam Raimi cam where they did like the zoom cam, and like straight up to her face, and that was the end of it. But first, it showed Michi being like, "Oh my god," and then like it showed her, and it's like, are you supposed to think that she just killed Michi? And even though he was never like anything in this movie other than like a super helpful guide, and he's like at one
Nice
with the
guy
forest, trying to help
he's
everyone.
out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
and I think this just ruins the whole movie
It
because
does.
It does. And he never. And that's the other thing too.
Why is that ghost attacking him?
Why is it doing anything?
Like he's not sad, therefore he doesn't see this shit.
And he's with a bunch of people. He's on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just completely destroys it.
They're leaving.
On top of the fact too that she turns into the same type of ghost that little girl turned into with the weird, creepy demon face. But you know, all the other ghosts that you see throughout the movie when she's running and stuff like that, they all had like the burlap sacks and different things like that.
Well, they're all dead. They're all in their original. They're decomposing their dead bodies. That's why I don't understand this demon face.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make.
It's like
any
when it
sense.
shows the real ghost face, it should be like a decomposed fucking face or something.
That's true. Let's save it for
okay
for our latter conversation, guys.
Okay.
But right now, though, I think you're gonna like this movie if you like creepy old Asian women, square-jawed American travel writers that write for an Australian travel guide in Japan, guides that are an Asian version of my Uncle Larry, Miji, killing people that are trying to give you their last granola bar, and finally, the world's most energy-efficient cell phone flashlight.
Yes.
So, with that being said, fellas, what do you think about the overall force of evil?
Oh boy.
The score. I'll start this one.
Yeah, you
Okay,
start.
yeah,
Steve.
let's start with Steve
Because
here.
I'm very opposite of you guys this time. I thought that it was pretty zazzy.
Oh boy.
Now, I am willing to overlook all sorts of stupid things. In fact, I just zoned out at the very end after she found out she was dead. So to me, it had a good ending. I thought that little Asian lady was creepy. Not only because she probably drives really bad, but also that she was scary. And yeah, I just thought it was a good time all around. I don't go watch a lot of new movies or anything, but I thought that this one was pretty fun. And like I said, since it didn't have teenagers in it or found footage, I was on board.
Sure.
What about you guys?
You want to go, Danny, or do you want me to go first?
Well, what are we doing? Are we talking score, or are we talking why we like the movie?
No, yeah, the score, what you thought about the movie, the overall... I thought that the forces of evil were pretty effective, even though they were out of place and ridiculous, but I'll pretty much give anybody anything as long as you entertain me.
All right, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind for later, Steve.
Oh.
No, man, like, the score was okay. I actually didn't mind the score itself. And again, it was just more of no songs, just kind of like ominous tones, orchestra symphony type stuff, right? Super fine with that. I felt like the music fit the movie. The movie itself, though, man, I'm sorry, but if you're going to make a horror movie, if you're going to make it in the vein of all these like Japanese ghost stories and shit like that, do your goddamn research.
I knew you were going to say the research. The research always has to come into it, doesn't it? It's always the research with you.
I'm sorry, but like if you're gonna make a movie about any sort of folklore, why would you not do the research on it? Like, why would you just piecemeal it together and be like, oh yes, these are terms, that's what it means? I don't know.
Because your script has to be completely different. You then have to have some guy that spills the exposition about the legends and So
all
they took
the legends and all
cheap
that
way.
shit could have been done in like 2 or 3 minutes. Especially with that girl that just was randomly at the ranger station or the visitor center when she like explains the whole thing when she's like, you have a sad soul. I can see that.
Yeah.
Don't go into the forest. And then she smiles wryly. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, that I thought that she might have been a ghost, honestly, because it was super weird that she was just
I was on
chilling
constant
there.
ghost watch.
Well, this is where the tour guide could have came in a bit more too, because he touches base on these ghosts, but he doesn't go into depth and explain it.
Right.
And when you have these naive Americans that don't understand the culture, yeah, like he should. I mean, you don't feel like it's cheap exposition. Like you're a naive American as well when it comes to this culture, and you should accept it, and it's helpful. But they don't do that. They don't use that.
No, they don't use they don't use the fact that they're super naive. They thoroughly. I think if they would have gone more into the history behind said ghost, if they would have showed more of the actual ghosts themselves doing weird things instead of just standing there. Because think about it, every ghost that you saw except for the Betty Whites and the one ghost that magically could shapeshift, all the other ones, they just stood there, right? They were just standing there the whole time. They never did anything. They just stood there. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I felt like, Anyway, your turn, Trevor.
That's fair enough. Trevor, what did you think?
Okay, so, for me, I did not like this movie. I'm going to start out with the score. I don't think Steve mentioned it, but Danny, you said he liked it. I think the score was terrible because
I didn't even notice
it. Well, you don't notice it because they don't use it in the traditional like horror way where they use suspenseful sounds that lead up to the scares. It's like almost silent, and they use weird cutting techniques in editing to kind of make this trippy and weird and to like scare you. So like the score was almost non-existent. It's kind of it was really weird and like not non-traditional, which it can be cool, but I just think as well it is fairly inconsistent. I don't understand the demon faces and versus the other ghosts that are just dead and decomposing and things like that. And I think the most important thing, the reason why I didn't like it was because these movies always have to go fuck themselves by adding this ridiculous supernatural, like it's this supernatural hammer, like, there are ghosts. They're really going to kill people. It's like, if you had just left this more psychological, like Repulsion or or something to where you can choose a side and you don't quite know whether there really were ghosts or she really went insane, that would be fantastic, and I'd probably enjoy it more, but they fucking completely ruin it.
Well, I think that's part of the problem with most modern day horror to begin with, right? Like, they don't ever, and that's one of the reasons why I loved It Follows, is because the director let you decide. And
it's an ambiguous ending, yeah.
And it was just like, sure. I'm not going to force feed you. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened because guess what? It's up to interpretation. That's why I fucking loved it. That's why I love all of John Carpenter's old shit. Like, The Thing, dude. Like, remember the ending to The Thing with Kurt Russell and what's his name just chilling there? Like,
sure.
In the tundra? Like,
whoa, 2 spoiler alerts.
Well, you have to think, and that's, I agree. That's what makes a great film, but that's not what makes a Hollywood film. The reason they do this is because it automatically sets it up for a sequel. It automatically sets that.
What sequel?
It's like It Follows, like a sequel. Like it will set any franchise up for a sequel.
I know, but I'm just thinking, what sequel can you see out of this movie?
Maybe that turns into a slasher. That'd be sweet.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could do a billion things, but I think that's why they do these kind of things, is to set it up for a sequel. It makes it easier to pick up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you leave, but it kind of doesn't make sense, because if you have an ambiguous ending, that should leave you open to have a sequel. But those movies that are more artistic and ambiguous and don't spell everything out for you, they usually are so great they don't need sequels. And no, I agree. But this movie, I think that whole ending, just spelling it out for you that, oh yeah, there are ghosts, she wasn't completely crazy, just kind of stupid.
Well, in that case, let's keep it brief.
Okay, sorry.
Not that. I mean, you could say what you want there, but
yeah. Since
we already went over what we liked or hated about it, let's get into the rating.
Okay.
So, scale of 1 to 5 dumpsters, 1 being the best that these movies could be, and 5 is an all-out dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys give it? So, I guess I could start, because I know what I'm going to give it. I'll give it a 2. The reason, briefly, is because it entertained me, and that's all I ask for. I mean, I saw it $5 Tuesday. I thought I got my $5 worth. Trevor and Danny, what'd you guys think?
See, that's one thing. I'll go next, but You paid $5 for this. I paid 10, so I feel like I got ripped off.
Yeah, a 5, I felt like it was just right.
Sure. Now I'm gonna give this a 4, and I give it a 4 because with this idea, it could have been a fantastic movie, and they could have played so much more on the psychological aspects of it, and they didn't. They took laxatives and shit all over it.
Do you guys think though that maybe you go into movies with too much expectation? Because I literally show up with none. I'm expecting the biggest piece of shit in the world.
I really didn't have any. I really didn't look into this movie too much before I went and watched it. I knew what the Suicide
the
Force
Alien episodes, right? That's pretty
maybe
legit.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I just was hoping that this fucking supernatural ghost thing. I know it's popular and it's been popular for quite some time, but as far as my beliefs go, we won't get into that. It's so fucking stupid. Like that they love this ghost.
These
filmmakers love these ghost movies, man, and it just
because they can get you with jump scares, a bunch of them.
Boy, I just didn't like that.
Danny, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with you, Trevor. I mean, it's again, if you're gonna go with like the ghost story type thing, leave some things unresolved, leave some things not spoon-fed to the audience, like leave things up to interpretation. Like we don't need every little thing spelled out for us. Like, I don't need you to phonetically say the alphabet to me to let me know, like, how to say the alphabet. I can piece together this movie. I don't know. I just felt like it was too much force-feeding, and then the ending itself, like... Do you remember the movie White Noise?
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Do you remember how that movie was actually pretty okay until they got to the ending, and then, like, the last 5 minutes of the movie, you were like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
I felt like that's what this did, where it took like on a movie that originally I probably would have given it like a higher rating, but I agree with you, Trevor. It's just garbage. By the way, Trevor, you never gave it a rating.
I gave it a 4.
Oh, you gave it a 4. True. That's right. My bad.
Danny, you never gave it a rating.
I didn't. I'm gonna, and to answer your question earlier, Steve, I went into this movie with no expectations, just hoping to not be disappointed. Like, I just went into it going...
That's a tall order.
Yeah. Well, not disappointed, I guess. I just went into it going, please don't be a flaming pile of garbage. That's all I went into it as. I was just like, give me a little something. But, like,
yeah,
this is a movie that had a $10 million budget, right? And they couldn't get any better CGI than that. And... besides the fact that you should not have done CGI if you have a $10 million budget, let's say that you could have gone practical effects for a lot of those things, and yet you didn't.
Sure.
And that completely drew away from the movie. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4.6 dumpster fire.
Oh, boy. Nice.
Because do your goddamn research.
Sure.
Well, there you have it. It sounds like we all recommend it. And
No. One thing I want to... We didn't talk about the payoff, which was garbage.
Right, the payoff of the hearing her sister's sound the whole time.
Yeah, so Jess Price runs into Rob when they finally meet the mob that's searching for them. And she... Rob's asking, oh, where's Sarah? And Jess just looks into the dark. And she goes... the sound... It's silent.
Right.
And it's like, oh my god, this is fucking so stupid.
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
She's like, that's the thing. I can't hear anything. And it's like, oh my god.
It's silent.
Right. Well, I could get on board with the fact that she suddenly says, oh, something's different or something, because she wouldn't be hearing anymore. But you can't spend the movie saying how there's a sound, because you wouldn't know there's a sound.
Well, what you could do is, what I would have done is played with the score and have this great score throughout the film, and when that happens, there's no score and it's dead silent, and she doesn't have to say anything, and you're just feel the silence, and you're like, oh, okay.
You're expecting it anyway. You're expecting her to say something like that. She didn't need to say it.
That's a great thing about movies, is that you don't have to fucking say things. You watch it.
You could tell, because I knew that's what she was thinking anyway.
Well, like, what if they had if they asked her and then she you can tell she's trying to hear something, she's struggling to hear something. And then it just cuts out and it pans out and it's done. Leave it.
Sure.
You don't need it
a lot better of an ending.
Yeah, it would have been a hell of a lot better ending. And
you don't need to scare you with the ghost face.
I would have respected the movie a little bit more if they had done that. But they had to go and destroy and pillage their own movie.
See, this reminded me of Sinister. Well, no, it actually didn't, because I actually like Sinister.
Sinister
all
does
the way
end
through.
with one of those stupid things, though.
I thought Sinister was one of the best horror movies I've watched in a long time.
Is great,
and then at the end, I was like, "Oh my god,
what is this?
myself.
A fucking magic show?"
Yeah, yeah. But see, it you don't have to do that. Don't ruin it. End it on a good note by just either leaving it ambiguous or just cutting. You don't have to add this final like bullshit hurrah. Like, I hate that.
Yeah, not good.
It's true. Well, fellas,
I think I'm good.
It sounds like there you have it. With an average rating of 3.53 repeating, we almost recommend this movie. So you can check it out if you've got the time, and it's on a discount day, it sounds like.
Indeed.
But stay tuned for more classy stuff that we've got coming your way.
Yes, we're Danny and we're going to start doing the weekly B-roll again.
Yes, we are.
Which is pretty cool. So we'll talk a bit about current affairs with the genre. Maybe
it's pronounced genre.
Genre. Maybe some great the top 5 horror movies of 2015, which we'll touch base on. Also listen to Steve's fantastic Blood on the Side, which is fucking great. You're going over some Adult Swim.
Yeah, we got some Adult Swim things on the docket. I also did an episode trying to make an argument about why Jurassic Park was a horror movie. But yeah, check us out. Look at us go and visit us at our website, bmovietrashtalk.com. You can get us on Twitter at Steve Normand, at Trevor Turpin, at bmovietrashtalk, and at Danny Butternubs.
Yes.
And facebook.com/bmovietrashtalk. And there you go.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
So you two dig up dinosaurs?